Miles, people go into this movie thinking, I'm going to see the story of a tough music teacher on this drummer kid, and instead they get, this is a horror movie, isn't it?
Yeah. I do think that's kind of, it's kind of along the lines that it does play like a thriller. It plays kind of like, some people compared it to a boxing match, said it's the best fight they've seen on screen, not a single punch is thrown. It's been compared to like a Full Metal Jacket at Juilliard. I think that's kind of appropriate, and that's great because if you're talking about a movie, about a young jazz drummer at this prestigious school with a very tough instructor, that's kind of an isolating experience, and it wouldn't have the response that it's getting from people if it only appealed to musicians.
Fletcher's not just tough, he's a monster. Why doesn't Andrew just take those drumsticks at some point and just gouge the guy's eyes out? He deserves it.
Yeah. No, I mean, you can't do that. I've had teachers that, were tough, not physically as abusing, obviously, as J.K. Simmons. That's not the world that we live in now. But, back in the day, all the, J.K. talked about it. Your sports coaches were like that. And it was that kind of old school, masculine alpha male testosterone, kind of a culture that was just like, oh, you're going to quit, you little girl, stuff like that. And the reason why Andrew doesn't quit is that he does realize that he needs this person to achieve what he wants to achieve, and he realizes that he's not going to achieve that by himself. And so he, regardless of kind of the abuse that he has to go through, he needs this guy.
Part of Andrew's motivation too is his desire to escape an ordinary life. This is somebody who was after greatness as almost a life end, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's willing to sacrifice pretty much everything to achieve that, And he talks about it, but he does want to be one of the greats. And I don't think you become one of the greats by just being content. You have to really kind of push yourself and break yourself down and then put yourself back together.
Do you think after this movie ends and as you imagine his life story continuing on, do you think he goes on to become one of the greats?
Yeah, I do. I think that the performance that he gives at such a young age, and kind of his first taste for, that ecstasy, that the validation from Fletcher, I think they've broken through that first plateau now, because I think Fletcher for the first time sees that he does have one of the great, or can have one of the greats on his hands. Whereas before, I think he was just kind of experimenting with his own power. He's experimenting with his own kind of, validity as a teacher and what he can actually, see and what he can achieve. But by the end of the movie, he knows that Andrew is the real deal.
What about you? Part of the thrill of watching this movie is seeing you up there doing this thing, and it's like, wow, can you really play that good?
With some quick cuts and stuff, and kind of the great editing that Damien did. But for a lot of the movie, I mean, what you're hearing is what I was playing on set for a good amount of it.